Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my match predictions for week 21 Premier League fixtures. And what a set of amazing games we're looking forward to. We're seeing Chelsea versus Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, two teams gunning for the Premier League title race this season. We also got Arsenal versus Manchester City, Arsenal looking to secure points for their top 4 hunt as well. We even got Manchester United versus Wolves. So like I always say, let's just hope for more goals, more thrills and more drama. And if it's anything like week 20 Premier League fixtures, we are set for a treat, because in those fixtures we saw some shocking results. We saw Liverpool drop points to Leicester City, losing at the King Power Stadium. We saw Manchester United only able to draw against Newcastle at St James's Park, and we even saw Spurs losing ground in the top 4 race, only drawing 1-1 at St Mary's against Southampton. But before we go in this video, like I always say, make sure you guys like, comment and hit that big subscribe button right there. And make sure you guys in the comment section give me your own predictions. Who do you think is going to win in week 21 Premier League fixtures? So the first game I'm going to be predicting is Chelsea versus Liverpool. And obviously this is an obvious game to predict first, because this is the main event. It feels like all the other games are the undercard, and Liverpool versus Chelsea, both teams who are gunning for the Premier League title this season, is going to be a spectacle to watch in terms of football. Both teams urgently and desperately need the 3 points if they want to keep up ground with Manchester City, who are comfortably right now sitting on top of the Premier League table. But let me just focus on the game, because there's still a game to play and both teams need to set up correctly if they want the 3 points. And let me just start with the wayside Liverpool, who suffered a horrific result away from home at the King Power Stadium to Leicester. I know it felt like I was overconfident, but I felt like I had facts to back this up of why I was overconfident. Leicester had players missing to COVID, injuries. They freshly played 3 games in the space of 6 days. So obviously I was going to be confident, considering the fact that Liverpool had a whole week to rest and they were going to be prepared for this game against Leicester. You even had Ndidi yet again playing centre-back for Leicester. So Leicester tactically and the starting 11 looked all over the place, and considering how many goals Liverpool have been able to score this season, I thought we were going to be able to walk through this Leicester side, especially since they conceded 6 goals against Manchester City in their last game. So honestly, I'm going to dub this game against Chelsea as the biggest game of the season for Liverpool, because if we do not win this game, I just don't see how we're going to be able to catch the English champions right now, Manchester City, who are on top of the Premier League table. And in the game against Leicester, I don't feel like Liverpool covered themselves in glory, especially the front three. I've never seen a team be able to shut them out like that. The defenders were aggressive, they defended well as a team, Leicester City, but I felt like this front three looks leggy. They didn't really combine well in terms of playing off each other, creating chances for one another and scoring goals. There was a lack of creativity, and the finishing, the chances we did get, Diego Jota, Mane and Salah were just poor. Even Salah for the penalty, he should have scored that, converted that. So going into this game against Chelsea, if we don't have our A game, if the front three aren't sharp, if they aren't quick within their movement to create chances for one another, Chelsea are going to be smiling, because we know they have the best defence in Europe and they can easily hold us to 0 goals. We saw Chelsea at the beginning of the season only conceding 1 goal against Liverpool, having 10 men for 45 minutes. So don't be surprised if Chelsea at Stamford Bridge are able to shut off Liverpool. And maybe it is a moment to pause. Maybe I am going over the top. Maybe it does look like I'm stressed, because Liverpool obviously have scored in the last 11 months in every single game. The last time we failed to score a goal was probably, I think, in January against Fulham when we lost 1-0. Every other game we were able to score. So considering with those facts, maybe Liverpool will be able to get goals against Chelsea and potentially win the game. But let me just talk about Chelsea as well a little bit. As much as they have a great chance of holding Liverpool to 1 or 0 goals, I feel like Liverpool have a great chance of holding Chelsea to 0 goals. I know they were able to score 2 or 3 goals against Aston Villa. And I know Lukaku, the main man, is back. But we saw in the reverse leg, or the third reverse fixture, Van Dijk was able to neutralise him and he was not a threat for the whole game. I feel like Van Dijk will take this responsibility and duty yet again to man-mark him, defend against him, out-battle him, out-strength him, use his muscles, use his intelligence as well to make sure Lukaku is not a threat throughout the whole game. And I feel like the other players of Lukaku aren't really of a threat. If you talk about Manchester City or even Manchester United, they have goal-scoring midfielders. Chelsea don't really have that. Yes, they have Mason Mount, but the other players like Pulisic, other players like Havertz if he's back in time, or even other players like Hudson-Odoi, in front of goal, they don't really pose a threat. So even as a Liverpool fan, I'm not scared that Chelsea are going to be able to run away with the game. I feel like the tactics of this game is going to be straightforward. I think Chelsea are going to be solid, resilient, compact, try play counter-attacking football, and as soon as they get the ball to Jorginho, transition the play fluently and as quick as possible to their front men and try catch Liverpool off guard, because we know their fullbacks are going to be flying forward. But yet again, like I said, I don't think Chelsea have the quality to really endanger Liverpool and take advantage of Liverpool's weaknesses that Leicester were able to do. So going into this game, I think it's going to be a stalemate. So I'm going to go for the safe result and the usual result in the big games. And I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Liverpool. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Arsenal versus Manchester City. And what another mouth-watering tie we have between these two sides. Both teams have been in excellent form in the Christmas period. One team, Arsenal, looking to carry on building on their momentum in terms of the top 4 race. And Manchester City, who are looking to further the gap between their competitors when it comes to the Premier League race. Let's see which team are going to be able to capitalise and win this game. And going into this game, let me just start with the home side, Arsenal, who have been absolutely fabulous, winning their last game against Norwich 5-0, fluid, entertaining, attractive football on the front foot. Their performances are suddenly start to match the results they're getting, because like I said at the beginning of the season, they were winning 1-0, it was quite iffy, but now we're seeing Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka coming to their own and show form on a more consistent basis, which we all know they had. And Xhaka, who slid right back into side, has been playing well as well, right next to Partey, seamlessly, where it feels like he's not really getting that much of a credit. Controlling the ball, dictating tempo, obviously defending, helping the 4 centre-backs as well. So going into this game, Arsenal should feel excited, right? They should feel with hope, ambition, excitement that potentially they could pick up the 3 points, right? But we know as neutral fans, or even as an Arsenal fan or Manchester City fan, Arsenal have not been able to beat Manchester City since 2016 in terms of the Premier League. So why should we give them hope going into this game? Well, I'm glad I asked that question, because I'll answer it myself. Because Arsenal this season at home have been very, very impressive. They've won, 7 to 8 games at home, only losing 1. So Arsenal have built a formidable side, especially with their new signings as well, that they're hard to beat at the Emirates this season. But yet again, there's another but, because there's a caveat, because Arsenal this season as well have been struggling to beat the top sides, conceding a lot of goals despite how well their defence have been against other sides. 5 against Manchester City, 2 against Chelsea, and 4 against Liverpool. So going into this game, it's clear as day that Arsenal do not have the mentality to compete with the big sides this season, and they have lacked this mentality for the last 5 or 6 years or so. However, let's look at the tactics. It's going to be interesting to see how Arteta sets his side up. And I don't think he should park the bus, try going the counter-attack like he did early on this season, playing 3 at the back, because we know that if you give Manchester City 90 minutes, they are going to pick you off at one point, and they only need 1 goal for you to break out of your shell. And after that, the floodgates are open, and Manchester City will end up scoring 4 or 5, which they did against Arsenal at the Etihad. So Arsenal need to be defensive-minded, resilient, but at the same time, look to counter Manchester City when they get the opportunity. I feel like players like Martinelli and Saka are going to give them great energy, great burst, great excitement in the final third as soon as they get the ball. And to utilise this, Arsenal are going to have to make sure Odegaard or Smith Rowe are on their A game to create the chances for the front 3 men. Otherwise, there's not going to be transitional play. And if you boot the ball back to Manchester City, they're able to just recycle the ball like they always do and dominate you and push you back, so you're not going to be able to get on the front foot. Xhaka and Partey, experienced players, are going to have a pivotal role as well to try disrupt the flow and rhythm of those Manchester City, playing within the midfield, interchanging, passing to one another, playing 1-2 balls off each other. But going into this game, I just feel like there's too many variables, there's too many ifs, there's too many buts, there's too many things which have to go right for Arsenal to win this game. Arsenal not only, like I said, have the psychological disadvantage, but the players and the manager, they just have the disadvantage overall to win this game. We know Xhaka has a mistake within him, and I feel like Manchester City players will pick him apart. Even the right back situation, Arsenal have so many players battling COVID at the right back position. So is Ben White going to play there? Is Sterling going to be able to take advantage of this in a 1-1 duel? Because we know Ben White, pace for pace, stride for stride, is no match for Raheem Sterling. So going into this game, I'm going to be predicting a 3-1 victory for the away side of Manchester City. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Watford versus Tottenham Hotspur. Both teams are looking to bounce back from their recent poor results. Obviously, Watford losing 4-1 to West Ham. Who would have thought that? and Tottenham Hotspur as well only be able to pick up a point against Southampton at St Mary's. So both teams have a point to prove. However, going in this game, let me just start off the away side Tottenham Hotspur. And overall, it just felt like a poor performance, especially in the first half. When Southampton actually had 11 men, it just felt like they were the better team. They were on the front foot. They were dominating the possession. They were pushing Tottenham back, making sure they couldn't get out their half. Tottenham's 3-4-3 formation looked like a 5-3-2 formation at times because of how many times Kyle Walker-Peters was pushing forward and Reguilon had to track back. And every loose ball was going Southampton's way. Tottenham weren't able to pick up the ball, try literally create chances because they were always defending from Southampton's threats. But later on in the game, it did change because Southampton did get a red card, but even then they were struggling to create chances. I think Harry Winks had an overall good game creating chances for Harry Kane, especially with his through balls over the top, which Harry Kane unluckily was offside for one of the goals. But overall, apart from that, Dele Alli had a poor game. Other players didn't look like their part, especially since they've been doing well under Conte for the last 3 or 4 weeks. But they're lucky, Tottenham, that they're first in Watford, who just conceded 4 goals against West Ham. And we know West Ham aren't really notorious for scoring goals. Harry Kane is looking like he's starting to return back into form. I know he scored an offside goal, but that goal was sharp. That looked like Harry Kane 2 or 3 years ago. Even the guy last season who won the Golden Boot race. We got Son as well, who's looking to pick up form again. And I think he's going to have that chip on his shoulder that he needs to perform as well against Watford. And it's going to be a great opportunity for these guys to score goals because we know defensively Watford have not kept a clean sheet for God knows how long and have conceded 15 goals in their last 4 games. So this just gives Tottenham so much hope and belief that they can get the 3 points at Vicarage Road. I think Dele Alli needs to replace for Lucas Moura, give more threat, give more impulse, more instinct when it comes to taking players on because Dele Alli hasn't been performing lately. And apart from that, I think Tottenham should be licking their lips, a great opportunity to bounce back into form and continue their undefeated run. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for the away side Tottenham Hotspur. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Leicester City versus Norwich City. And both teams, if you ask them, especially the fans, they wouldn't be happy how their seasons have gone. Leicester have been on an up and then down trajectory throughout the season, and Norwich have just been on a down trajectory this season because they've been fighting relegation all year. But let me just start with the home side, Leicester City. Honestly, I just don't know what to make out with them. One minute you're thinking they're going to win easily and then they lose. And the next minute they're going to lose against Manchester United or Liverpool and then they pull out a great result out of the bag and you're thinking potentially they can build on this, use this as a foundation block so they can go back and compete for the European positions this season. You just never know with Leicester City. But honestly, it was an amazing performance. Ndidi and the other centre-backs done well to marshal out a great attacking forward front that Liverpool do have in Diego Jota, Mane and even Mohamed Salah, who missed the penalty. And like I said earlier in this video, no side have been able to do that for 11 months. So Leicester City do deserve kudos of how resilient, compact and defensive-minded, strong-minded they were to keep out Liverpool. But going into game against Norwich City is going to be a lot more different. Leicester obviously home again, but they can't sit back against the Norwich City side, who we know as well, who are so open and defensively fragile, which Leicester City should be able to take advantage of, considering the fact that they have so many quality players, especially in the latter part of the pitch, with Vardy, Maddison, Inacho as well, who should be able to score goals against this weak Norwich side. They probably have the second worst defence in the league. And when was the last time they even won a game? I think that was in Dean Smith's first game this season. Norwich City have conceded 10 goals in their last 3 games. I just saw Arsenal slice through them. I'm going to go for a standard routine victory, 3-0, especially since Crystal Palace just beat Norwich City as well 3-0. And we know Leicester do have good players, even better than Crystal Palace.